The Champions League is delving into unknown waters. Gone is the old format with 8 groups of 4 teams. Gone are 6 group stage games with the top 2 teams in each group qualifying for the knockout stages and the third team going into the Europa League. Now we traverse the new terrain with 36 teams in a league format, 8 group stage games, and January matchday nights filled with fire. Now we sit in the murky depths of playoff fury. 16 teams vying for the final 8 Champions League knockout spots. And the losing 8, well, they're sent down to Europa League. Oh, Manchester United. Anyways, I'm Owen Cameros, joined by Josh Armour and Rob Leonard. Josh, I'm going to start with you. This new format, it's had its critics, it's had its supporters. What's your take on it?
Well, Owen, last year when I first heard they were changing it, I was very skeptical. I mean, the group stage, it's been a tried and tested system. It's provided plenty of great moments over the past decades, but I mean, I'm glad that I got proved wrong watching the system in action this year. The league phase replacing the group stage, it's just allowed teams to play more and better teams, and it's just been awesome to watch. We've gotten great matchups, and also it's honestly a little more fair. I mean, the best teams who perform consistently are automatically in through the round of 16. They get that top 8 seed, they're in, and they honestly deserve to. But it also lets the little guys, get some action as well, fight for their own glory. You see Celtic, they're in 21st. They surprisingly had 3 wins and 3 draws, and now they've qualified. They're facing Bayern Munich in the playoff qualifiers. That's awesome to see. You never really see that, and it allows those Cinderella stories that we all love to see, but they just haven't really quite happened, as since those big clubs have kind of ascended to a completely different level.
Yeah, I get you. Brest, a team that's had, similar to them, they've had great form this year, a couple of wins, and now they're playing versus PSG, a team that maybe they thought they'd never play again and never play in a Champions League playoff fixture like you're mentioning.
Yeah, I love watching Brest, but, I just love this stage overall, and I'm glad that they decided it Americanizes it, I'll admit, with the seeds and everything, but I'm glad they ended up doing it.
Rob, I'm going to go to you next. I mean, same with you. The worry has always been fixture congestion, and I know we worry about that with the Club World Cup and just so many fixtures for big teams and so many players playing so many minutes. What's your take on it?
I mean, I think it can cause problems in that sense. I mean, there is a little bit more fatigue, more games, it's no longer, but there are some benefits like anything new. It's a new system. There's critics, there's people that are purists, Champions League purists. I used to consider myself a Champions League purist. I grew up watching, the team or the format that we've had for the last 21 years. We saw a lot of great things happen, but realistically, it didn't really benefit those small teams. I mean, you look at teams like Real Madrid, won 6 Champions Leagues, under that system. You look at Barcelona, won 4 Champions Leagues. Bayern Munich won 3 Champions Leagues. So, I mean, you add that up, that's 13 years dominated by 3 teams. Whereas I feel like this new system definitely awards consistency a little bit more. It's 36 teams instead of 32, which is fantastic because it gives a little bit more space, for teams that maybe wouldn't qualify otherwise. And I do think that on the other hand, though, a negative about that is the fact that it's a little bit similar to the college football playoff in the sense that, the top 8 teams essentially get a bye where they do have a little bit more of an edge already. They tend to be bigger teams that take an advantage from that, but they get more of an edge on smaller teams because they get more time to rest, they get more time to recover, more time to plan. So I do think, like anything else, there's pros and cons, but I think we're going to need to wait to see how it goes. I definitely think it could be interesting to see how it plays out.
Well, now we're in those kind of murky waters where we're interested to see how it plays out. We've had the first leg of fixtures in this playoff, heading into the second leg. There's been some shockers. There's been some interesting ones. Milan lost to Feyenoord. I don't think anybody really expected that. Obviously, you have the 2 heavy hitters that are kind of surprised to be in the playoff in Man City and Real Madrid. That fixture has determined who has won the Champions League for the past 3 years. Could this be the 4th year running? Obviously PSG, a big team, still without the likes of Mbappe and stuff like that, but they're still a very solid squad. And versus a team like Brest, obviously PSG, a very, very good 3-0 win. Brest had a tough one. Maybe they'll get a bit of a lift in the second leg. But I'm going to you guys. What's your most interesting Champions League playoff fixture that you're most excited about?
Well, I mean, for me, I was raving about Celtic earlier. Bayern versus Celtic, it's David versus Goliath almost. It's really interesting to see because Celtic got a goal against Bayern. albeit they're 2-1 down. They got to go away to Germany. I don't think they're unfortunately going to get past Bayern, Champions League blue blood. But they got that front three of Jota, Maeda, and Kuhn. They got 9 goals between them, 10 goals in total from the team in open play just in the Champions League. I mean, that's pretty impressive. Like I said earlier, they got 3 wins. They earned their place to be here. They earned their spot. And if by some miracle they eke out a win, I wouldn't be completely surprised because, that kind of tracks with Harry Kane's career record, unfortunately. But,
you can leave the Tottenham can't leave you.
Exactly. But that being said, Harry Kane has been, of course, on fire this season. 7 goals in 8 matches just in the Champions League alone, 28 on the season. And then you got Musiala, Sane, all that supporting cast. That's just a really deep team. And in the Allianz Arena, Celtic aren't going to get past them.
It's a tough one for Celtic. I mean, Bayern Munich, tried and true, haven't had the success maybe in the past 2-3 years that we've expected of them, but they've also had to deal with really tough fixtures, Real Madrid and Man City's. Over to you, Rob. Who's your fixture?
So me, I've over this last Champions League run, I've fallen in love with Atalanta. I love it. They're the perfect Cinderella story. They come from this tiny little town named Bergamo in Italy, 120,000 person population. One of the smallest budgets in the entire Champions League. And I mean, they can hold their own. They did well against Barcelona, one of the favorites, to win the entire competition. They tied them 2-2 in Barcelona in a thrilling matchup. And I think they really, that is what we want, under this new system is for smaller teams to do a little bit better. And I think we're definitely seeing that with Atalanta. I mean, they're being awarded for consistency. They're being awarded for Gasperini's style of play, which is, overwhelmingly Italian. It's press, press, and then the moment they get the ball, oh yeah, fast on the counterattack, lethal, deadly on the counterattack. Make sure you get the ball back, you score. And I mean, I think it's impressive. I think it goes to show that, under this new system, like you said before, smaller teams are definitely awarded. I mean, they're awarded for consistency.
Atalanta, always a team that's kind of been in Europe. I mean, they ruined a Cinderella story last year. They ruined Leverkusen's undefeated year, beating them, was it 3-0 in the Europa League final. That got them into the Champions League, and they've continued hot.
Oh yeah, and I mean, with a guy like Marco Retegui, I think it's amazing. He's been having an incredible season. So I definitely think that's gonna play into it. I think that they can overcome the 2-1 deficit. And I definitely think that they're capable of it. They have the passion. They have the style of play for it. And I mean, I'm hoping for that. It'd be a great Cinderella story.
They're a great Cinderella story, and that's kind of what the Champions League is all about. Are there any final fixtures anybody wants to quickly touch on before we head out?
I just wanted to mention PSV versus Juventus. Juventus, great team, but PSV have just been really fun to watch these last 2 years. They've got great talent, Bakayoko, Perisic, De Jong, Till, that honestly, in the Ranchi Stadium and at home in the Netherlands, I think it's just going to be really entertaining. And my hot take, I think they will be able to come back against a Juventus that has been struggling to find their identity these last few years.
Yeah, PSV, Juventus, 2 teams always in and around, never really making it to the next level, but teams that are absolutely kind of in and being spoiled. They're spoiler teams. That's what they are.
So my fixture is definitely got to be Real Madrid, Manchester City. The first leg was incredible. 3-2. Of course, like always, Real Madrid was down, 2-1. And then the last 20 minutes they make a 2-goal comeback. I think that's very Real Madrid fashion. Honestly, the second leg being at the Bernabeu, I just don't see Manchester City, taking it. Real Madrid's, lethal when it comes to playing the second leg at home. I think their home crowd is definitely going to help them out. And also Manchester City's, weakness is their defense. They don't have the most pacey defense. They tend to get flustered when they're faced with an attack or with a counterattack that's really fast. And I mean, on a team like Real Madrid, you have, Vinicius, you have Mbappe, you have Rodrigo, some of the fastest footballers in the world right now. So I think that they're gonna crush them. I'd say 2-0, 3-0.
It's a bold prediction from you, Real Madrid. Not a team that's looked incredible this year, but I think it's kind of just been new players, new blood. Mbappe trying to come over and make the team his, but you already have established players like Jude Bellingham and Vinicius already there. And that's all from us in the Willard studio. But the Champions League action, it's just beginning. Follow along on Penn State Sports Night for all coverage of all things Champions League for the rest of the year. For Josh Armour and Rob Leonard, I'm Owen Cameros. Have a great night.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to this edition of Penn State Sports Night.
For more content like this and so much more, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and X. For everyone here at Penn State Sports Night,
We are
Penn State Sports Night.